Cobra Kai is one of the most hotly debated new shows, and I can't wait to hear more about Season 4. Season 3 left the series in such a mysterious place that it's hard to come to terms with the idea that Season 4 may not be released for another year. Regardless, it is going to be the best season so far. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Cobra Kai Season 3 has finally been released on Netflix, and we have all loved it. We are finally getting to see the continuation of some of Season 2's most gut-wrenching cliffhangers, as well as get a taste of things to come in Season 4. Even though many of our questions from the last season have finally been answered, we're now left with so many more questions as we go into Season 4. How will Johnny and Daniel work together? The new season sees Johnny and Daniel finally working together after being at odds with one another for the past 3 decades. As fate would have it, these two are now forced to train their students under one name, no longer being able to compete against each other. This sounds like it is going to be incredible, but we have to remember, these can never seem to agree. They will bicker and fight about anything and everything. So it's hard to understand how they plan on working together to teach their children in the best way possible. It seems pretty safe to assume that they will spend more time fighting amongst themselves than teaching their pupils how to fight others. We know that there are heaps of differences between Daniel's techniques and Johnny's, but now that Johnny has officially lost his dojo, it would make sense that he may be more open to Daniel's skills and advice. Daniel has also learned how to use what he has learned from Mr. Miyagi and turned those skills into some pretty impressive offensive tactics. Though Johnny most likely will not be willing to let go of his upbringing so easily, it would be really weird to see Johnny completely give in and surrender himself to the miyagi-do after spending so many years fighting against it. The mutual disgust for John Kreese may help keep these two glued together, but I wouldn't expect this to all go over without the two having to fight it out a few times first. Enter Terry Silver. So this idea is just a theory, but it seems to make sense, considering the sneak peek we were given at the end of Season 3. After waiting more than 34 years, we were finally able to learn the origin of John Kreese, Johnny Lawrence's former teacher. This story took place in a flashback that explained how John Kreese came up with the strike first, strike hard mentality that followed him over the years. The final episode of Season 3 took us on a journey that introduced us to Johnny's friend, who goes by the nickname Twig. John saves Twig's life, and Twig explains that he will forever be indebted to him. As the scene brings us back to the present day, John is looking at an old photo of his friend before he picks up the phone and calls someone. We don't know who he called, but it's safe to assume he called Twig. While the show never outright states who Twig is, we get a glimpse of who he may be in Episode 6. John's captain talks about Twig, but instead of calling him by his nickname, he calls him Silver. This seems pretty interesting, considering Terry Silver was one of the main villains from the original Karate Kid series. If we think back to the third Karate Kid film, you may also remember that John and Terry Twig were army friends that had been together for years. If John really plans on bringing Twig back into the picture, this would add a whole new element to the show, though it would also make a lot of sense. Now that Daniel and Johnny are teaming up, Kreese will probably need a bit of help as well if he wants to keep up with these spry young men. Mr. Miyagi's hidden secrets. We know that Mr. Miyagi and Daniel had a relationship that was unmatched. Many of their peers considered the two to be as close as family, but it seems like they may have been closer than that. However, regardless of all of this, Mr. Miyagi still had some secrets that he kept hidden from Daniel. We learned about a few of these when Daniel returned to Okinawa all those years later in Season 3. Daniel soon learns about a technique that Mr. Miyagi refused to teach him when they were training together. The technique would show Daniel how to take down an enemy using nothing but pressure points. Though this is contrary to everything that Mr. Miyagi had previously taught Daniel. Mr. Miyagi had always explained that miyagi-do was only to be used for defense, not offense. Though it seems like Mr. Miyagi had perfected both worlds of karate. Now that Cobra Kai Season 4 is in the works, I'm sure most of us are wondering if Mr. Miyagi could have kept a few of those secrets from Daniel. If he is able to learn the ways of Mr. Miyagi and continue to expose his methods all this time later, it makes sense that Daniel and Johnny would easily be able to take down John and whoever he may bring with him. I wouldn't expect too much from the new season though. The writers are doing their best to keep Cobra Kai aligned to the original movies as much as possible. And they are obviously using a lot of source material from the original movies to do that. So while it would be awesome to learn even more about Mr. Miyagi, I wouldn't expect too much groundbreaking information to be revealed. Johnny's love life. We all know that Johnny's love life isn't the best in the world. Over the years, he has been beaten down time and time again. He has always been searching for that special someone and does his best to live up to the image that is set by Daniel. But he always seems to come up short, though Carmen may throw a kink into Johnny's storyline in a good way. Allie Mills finally reprised her role in the Cobra Kai series after being absent from Johnny and Daniel's lives for over 3 decades. We thought this may have been Johnny's big moment, but it seems like Allie had other plans. Rather than try to win Johnny over and reignite the flame they once had, she learns that Johnny's heart is in a much different place than it was all those years ago. Johnny had recently found himself completely overwhelmed by Miguel's mother, Carmen. The two seemed to hit it off really well and seemed to be equally interested in one another. When Allie came back, she helped Johnny see that his true passion lies with Carmen. Johnny didn't want to admit this, but he finally came to terms with his feelings and decided to confess his love for Carmen's mother. Though, as he was on his way to do so, he found that Miguel had been injured. He jumped into action to help take care of Miguel before his injuries got out of hand. Let's be honest, if this doesn't win Carmen over, nothing will. I'm sure all of us would like to see Johnny and Carmen finally get together, but this seems increasingly unlikely as time goes by. The two are constantly on and off again, and the writers seem to enjoy toying with us and teasing us with what would have been. I feel pretty confident these two will get together in due time, but I'm getting impatient here. Just get on with it already. We also have to wonder if Miguel's injuries will now impact him in the next season, possibly preventing him from being the amazing athlete he once was. It's definitely too early to say anything for sure, but the future isn't looking too good for Miguel. He had a miraculous recovery in Season 2, but can we really expect him to heal so quickly in Season 3 and 4 as well? We will just have to wait and see. We know he will have a long road ahead of him, but let's just hope that Miguel will be back to normal soon. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.